Hello, dear watchers. Welcome back to our channel. Pull up a chair, make yourself comfortable, and let me tell you a story about love, courage, and the wisest decision a husband and father ever made. It begins, as all good stories do, with a family choosing each other over everything else. When Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan announced in January 2020 that they would be stepping back from their roles as senior members of the royal family, the reaction was swift and brutal. The British press condemned them. Royal commentators accused them of betrayal. The institution itself seemed baffled that anyone would choose to leave the gilded cage. But in the years since that announcement, the wisdom of Harry's decision has become increasingly clear. From the police report that mistakenly associated Duchess Meghan with a controversial event she had nothing to do with, to the endless leaks and negative stories that continue to emerge from palace insiders, the evidence has mounted that Harry made the only choice a loving husband and father could make. He got his family out. This is the story of why that decision was not just wise, but essential, and how the events that followed have only proven him right. In May 2022, journalist Henry Dyer uncovered something remarkable. Through a Freedom of Information request, he obtained a Metropolitan Police report about the Sarah Everard vigil, the gathering that had seen women handcuffed and flowers trampled by police officers. The report contained an entry stating that the Duchess of Sussex attended the bandstand at approx. 17:15, reported in media. There was only one problem. The Duchess of Sussex, Duchess Meghan, had not attended the vigil. She was thousands of miles away in California, living her quiet life as a private citizen, probably reading stories to little Archie and Lilibet without a care in the world about what was happening across the ocean. It was Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, who had been at Clapham Common that afternoon, laying flowers without a mask, photographed by the media, and later defended by police officials who suggested her presence was acceptable because she was working. The Metropolitan Police had, in an official document, associated Duchess Meghan with an event that had resulted in arrests, public outrage, and widespread condemnation of police conduct. They had effectively placed her at the scene of a controversial gathering that had been deemed unlawful. And when the error was discovered, they did nothing to correct it. This was not merely an administrative slip. It was a window into the institutional mindset that Harry had chosen to leave behind. In the minds of British establishments, including the police, the palace, and the press, Duchess Meghan was interchangeable with controversy. She could be inserted into negative narratives without anyone noticing or caring. Her name could appear on documents suggesting wrongdoing, and no one would rush to set the record straight. Imagine if Harry and Duchess Meghan had still been in the UK when this report was written. Imagine if they were still royal working, still subject to the daily scrutiny and institutional machinery, still trying to raise their beautiful children while the world watched their every move. How many more mistakes would have been made? How many more official documents would have linked Duchess Meghan to events she had nothing to do with? How many more negative stories would have taken root, unchallenged and uncorrected? Harry saw this coming. He understood that the institutions surrounding the monarchy were not neutral. They had their own interests, their own biases, their own ways of operating, and those ways were not friendly to his wife. The police report error did not occur in a vacuum. It was part of a long and painful pattern of unequal treatment that has characterized Duchess Meghan's relationship with British institutions. Throughout her time as a working royal, Duchess Meghan was subjected to a level of scrutiny and criticism that Kate Middleton never faced. When Duchess Meghan closed her own car door, it was noted as unusual. When she showed affection to Harry in public, it was analyzed. When she spoke about her experiences, it was dismissed as complaining. The academic research bears this out. A 2024 study from the University of Memphis found that the British press cast Markle as a threat to British tradition and identity, while covering Middleton in consistently positive terms. The double standard extended beyond the press. When Kate attended the Sarah Everard vigil, police officials suggested her presence was acceptable because she was working, despite the gathering being deemed unlawful, and despite other working people, including journalists and legal observers, being arrested at similar events. When Duchess Meghan was associated with the vigil in the police report, there was no similar protection. No official came forward to explain that she hadn't been there at all. The record simply stood, unchallenged. This is the world that Harry chose to leave, a world where his wife would be held to different standards, judged by different rules, and associated with different narratives. A world where institutions could make errors that harmed her reputation and never bother to correct them. Since Harry and Duchess Meghan's departure, the drama has not stopped. If anything, it has intensified. Leaks from palace insiders continue to appear in the press. Anonymous sources offer damaging quotes about the couple. Negative stories are published with remarkable timing, often appearing just as other royal controversies are making headlines. In February 2026, a news report emerged suggesting that Kate believed Harry and Duchess Meghan weren't to be trusted and had an agenda. Whether true or not, the publication of such claims serves a clear purpose. It keeps the negative narrative circulating, it reinforces the idea that Duchess Meghan is the problem, and it distracts from other issues facing the monarchy. This is precisely the environment that Harry sought to escape. He knew that as long as his family remained within the institution, they would be subject to its machinery. They would be used as distractions when convenient. They would be blamed for problems they didn't create. They would be associated with controversies they had nothing to do with. By leaving, Harry broke that cycle. He removed his wife and children from the crosshairs. He gave them the chance to live without the constant drip of negative stories, the endless leaks, the institutional bias that treated Duchess Meghan as an outsider to be managed rather than a family member to be protected. Harry's decision to prioritize his family over his birthright represents a profound act of love and wisdom. He understood something that many in his position might have missed, that the institution would never change, that it would never fully accept Duchess Meghan, that it would never treat her fairly. The only way to protect her was to leave. This was not an easy choice. Harry had spent his entire life within the royal family. He had served his country in the military. He had carried out countless official duties. He had every reason to stay. Tradition, duty, expectation. But he chose his wife instead. The police report error demonstrates why that choice was so important. Even from California, even after stepping back, even when she had nothing to do with events in the UK, the establishment still found ways to associate Duchess Meghan with controversy. If they had stayed, the effect would have been magnified 100-fold. Every mistake would have been another story. Every uncorrected error would have been another blow to Duchess Meghan's reputation. Every negative association would have been another reason for the public to question her. Harry saw this coming. He understood that the institutions surrounding the monarchy were not neutral. They had their own interests, their own biases, their own ways of operating, and those ways were not friendly to his wife. The contrast between how Kate and Duchess Meghan have been treated by British institutions could not be starker. Kate has been protected, praised, and positioned as the ideal royal. When she attended the Sarah Everard vigil, she was described as paying her respects privately. When questions arose about her maskless appearance, police officials offered explanations. When the vigil was documented in official reports, her name was absent, despite her actual presence. Duchess Meghan, by contrast, has been criticized, scrutinized, and associated with negative narratives even when she had nothing to do with them.
The police report placed her at a controversial event she didn't attend and never corrected the error. The press has published endless negative stories about her, many based on anonymous sources and unverified claims. The institution has never extended to her the same protection it has consistently offered to Kate. This unequal treatment is not accidental. It reflects deep assumptions about who these women are and what they represent. Kate represents continuity, tradition, the monarchy as it should be. Duchess Meghan represents change, diversity, the monarchy as it might be. The institution has made its choice about which of these it prefers. Harry's decision to leave was a rejection of that choice. He refused to accept that his wife would always be second class, always be treated differently, always be the subject of negative narratives. He chose to build a new life where his family could be judged on their own merits, not through the distorting lens of institutional bias. Today, Harry and Duchess Meghan live in California with their 2 children, Archie and Lilibet. They have built a life away from the constant scrutiny of the British press, away from the leaks and the negative stories, away from the institution